bittersweet endings, and STDs.
Ooh, Yaoi review.
Hi everybody, it's Corbin, and today I am talking about Prince of Cats, Volume 5 and Volume 6, so the last two in the series. Now, for those of you who don't know, Prince of Cats is an online webcomic that is by Kori Michele Handwerker, and it's pretty much about gay teens, well, a pair of gay teens in the early 2000s to late 90s. So this is a very nostalgic yaoi for people of my generation that were in high school in those times. So let's start with Volume 5. Volume 5 came with two cute little free prints, one of Lee and one of Jessie. At least I think that's her name. Pretty sure it's Lee and somebody else. So Lee has been going out with his friend for a while now. I'm trying to figure out his name. I do think it's Jessie, though. Lee and Frank. So Lee and Frank have been going out for a few months now, and the relationship has gotten rather hot and heavy and kind of sexual. But in this volume, we get to see exactly the cost during that era and the stigma behind someone actually being gay and maybe having an STD, and how awkward it could be during this time to talk to a doctor about it. Now, it's still very awkward, but it's a little more accepting nowadays. This volume also has a lot to deal with Frank's sister, who is a transsexual. She's a female who portrays herself physically as a male, but doesn't outwardly say she's a male, who's talking to the girl that had a crush on Frank, who he took to prom. So, very interesting volume. Not too much really happens. The biggest high point, though, is the STD scare in this one. In the next volume, Volume 6, I'll read you what it says it's about, and her summary in the back of this for 6. Just as soon as everything starts looking up for Frank and Lee, things begin to go wrong. With Frank's father in the hospital, he's in charge of the farm now, and who is going to take care of Lee while he's taking care of Sam and Frank? Sam finds some consolation from an unexpected source, and everyone just tries to keep it together. Will they all come out of the ordeal unscathed? And can Lee do anything about it? So Frank's father ends up having a heart attack where he ends up hospitalized and ends up dying. And this one comes with a print of Frank and Lee together. And it's a very heart-wrenching moment where we see Frank and Lee's relationship completely fall apart and them drift apart and break up and move to their separate directions. And we see in the end of all of this that Frank has to give everything up of what he originally valued and completely start a new life at the end. It is a very bitter-sweet ending. These are, in a lot of ways, I gave these a 3.5. They are in a lot of ways worthwhile to look at. For me, they're purely really nostalgia-based. The art style hasn't changed really. It's kind of this more cartoony watercolor style. Most of the time it is like a scanned watercolor page. So if that style doesn't really bother you, this would be fine to read. It is available online. I'll have it linked down below. You can read it 100% for free online. I do encourage you to read it. It is a good nostalgic piece for people who are alive and teenagers and even preteens during this era. It gives a lot of insight towards how we really did feel during those times. So if you guys have questions, comments, shoot them down below and I'll get back to you ASAP. And yeah, that's about it, you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
You like what you see? Then...
subscribe!